I lost my virginity very young. This story's going somewhere. And I thought that my dad was gonna freak out when he found out, and he actually surprised me.
How old were you?
My mom, 14,
14. Oh.
and my mom actually freaked out, and my dad was just like, he gave me a little sermon and read me some chapters in the Bible, and he prayed with me, and he was like, I'm not happy, or he said he was disappointed, but
The following podcast is for informational purposes only and does not constitute legal, medical, or any type of professional advice. While we strive to provide accurate and up-to-date information, laws and regulations surrounding sexuality, relationships, and consent can vary by location and are subject to change. If you have specific legal or medical concerns, we strongly recommend consulting with a licensed professional in your jurisdiction. Listener discretion is advised, as this podcast may discuss adult themes and sensitive topics. By continuing to listen, you confirm that you are 18 years or older. Welcome to the Siren of Freedom Podcast, sounding the alarm by bringing clarity and freedom to the realm of sexuality. Our aim is to give others a place to share their stories and release themselves from the weight of shame and guilt. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Siren of Freedom. We should be having a lot of fun today because our guest is my very good friend, Mrs. Mocha. Hello, hello, Mrs. Mocha.
I'm so dead. Hello.
I just started over with hello, everyone. I was just repeating myself. I haven't interviewed someone in a couple weeks, and so, we were just doing slut diaries and stuff like that to fill in, extra space with extra goodness. So, how are you today? You just barely got off work before you got on here. So, if anybody knows Mrs. Mocha in real life, she is all about her Celsius. Is it the good kind, like the high noon Celsius? Remember? High noon accidentally labeled a bunch of their, they put a bunch of High Noon in Celsius cans. So, and Celsius are normally, a non-alcoholic beverage. So, but
Probably it because silver tops and regular Celsius has a black top. So I've not encountered any of those yet. Or maybe I have, and I don't know. But yeah, I think I would know the difference in vodka and Celsius, though. I don't know.
hopefully depends on how many Celsius is in you were, right?
Right.
Well, let's get into it. I know you, but I'm excited to learn more about you today. I always learn so much more about people, even people that I know, and we just never know where the conversation's gonna go. So, tell us about your family. Like, how many siblings do you have? Your mom and dad, are they still around? Tell us a little bit about growing up and where you grew up.
I have to say that where I grew up.
No, not exactly.
I
Some
grew
people
up
are
in the South.
you
I'll say
grew
the
up in
South.
the country or they grew up in the city or they grew up
Yeah.
in, as a missionary on the foreign field, whatever.
I can say I had a pretty I'll start off. Yes, both my parents are still around. I have 5 brothers. I think that's why it was so hard for me in my adult life, not to go off topic, but to have female relationships because I grew up around a lot of males.
Yeah.
I grew up in the South, and yes, it was on a farm for a while, but I moved to Georgia when I was 14, and we actually moved downtown Atlanta and lived there for a while the year of the Olympics.
Oh,
So,
wow.
I would say it was pretty sheltered until I moved here. My dad's a preacher. My mom is absolutely not. I,
Yeah.
they're not. Go ahead.
How did that work out? Like, when did you move to Atlanta? What age? How old were you?
I was 14, but my parents divorced when I was, I want to say like 4 or 5.
4 or 5.
And my mom, yeah, remarried one guy and then divorced, and then we ended up moving to Atlanta. So I didn't really ever live with both my parents,
And
like at the same time.
where are you at in the birth order? If you have 5 brothers, where are you?
3?
You're number 3?
3.
So smack
Mm-hmm.
dab in the middle of it all.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's so 6 kids and that's all from your same mom and dad?
No, there's have been steps, but I haven't still never really had girls. I had my aunt. My aunt is like, she's only 5 years older than me, so like I guess female influence was kind of her,
Mhm.
more or less.
So were you closer with her than with your mom growing up?
Yes, kind of, and then we moved to Atlanta. So I can say honestly, I'm not really close to any of my family now. My own kids, probably. We I don't want to say we had a falling out. We just have different views on life.
Yeah.
So
That's just part of the journey of life. Like, I live kind of far away from the majority of my family. It's hard to be close sometimes too when you're far away. So sometimes there's not necessarily a falling out. I just call it like people just kind of fade away, you know? They don't keep things up, we don't keep things up, and that's just what happens. But so your dad was always a preacher then, and then you say your mom was not. So tell me about like how that was. Like him being a preacher, your mom being not in that realm. Like obviously it didn't work out, but how was it?
she was still pretty religious, just
Mhm.
not like my dad is like Southern Baptist preacher. So he's like, you go to church on Sunday in the morning and at night and on Wednesdays, and you go to every like revival, and you go to Wednesday night church, and you go to prayer service on Thursday, and if there's Bible school during the summer, you go to that. So you just, I don't know. I mean, I can't say it was a bad life, and I'm not like not a religious person. I just I think I don't want to say too much, but yes, my dad's a preacher, and I went complete opposite of probably what he would agree with. But I think he knows, so it's okay.
Yeah, and we'll leave some of that to the imagination for
Right.
the after dark segment. But we grew up like that's pretty similar. Like my parents are still married to this day, almost 50 years.
Mhm.
But my dad was a pastor too, for much of my younger days. And he actually was so zealous and so about it that one church that he pastored quietly voted him out in the dark of night, and we moved like 2 days later. So,
Oh,
yeah, and we didn't tell anybody like where we were moving to. Like, I remember that now. Like, we just were loading up the car, and then they're like, "Where are you moving?" And I was like, wasn't supposed to tell anybody. And what they're like, "Don't tell anyone where we're moving." And then, I'm a kid. I was probably like 5, and I was like, "Yes." And I'm like, "It starts with," and I said the letter. And then they guessed, and I was like, "Oh no, I wasn't supposed to tell anybody." It was
I'm
just
so
like, I should
dead.
ask them about that. Be like, "Why did we like sneak off like that?" Um it just seems kind of fishy now. So I have no clue like what that was all about, and now I'm curious. I'll be like, call my mom right now. Be like, hey, talking to my friend. So are any of your brothers, are they like from that school of thought? Did they follow in your dad's footsteps, or like how's?
One of my brothers is a preacher yet.
Mhm.
2 of them were, um, and he's somewhere strung out now. He's the oldest. We're not
Yeah.
sure where he is now. Not that that's like a funny subject, but I mean, it is what it is. Like
Right. It's funny, not funny.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's like, you did what you could. So, what were so with that religious stuff, like, what was your dad's views on, like, sex and sexuality? Did he talk to you guys at all? Did he talk to you? Like, how was that?
So
What did you
I,
hear from from church?
I lost my virginity very young. This story's going somewhere. And I thought that my dad was gonna freak out when he found out, and he actually surprised me.
How old were you?
My mom, 14,
14. Oh.
and my mom actually freaked out, and my dad was just like, he gave me a little sermon and read me some chapters in the Bible, and he prayed with me, and he was like, I'm not happy, or he said he was disappointed, but he wasn't upset, I guess, which again still surprises me to this day. But I also think I grew up kind of in. I don't want everyone to think I'm like 100 years old, but I also kind of grew up in where I grew up and when I grew up. All to me kind of factored in because you didn't really talk to your kids as openly about sex or anything like that. So my mom, no, my mom, I think, was afraid to talk to me about it because her parents never talked to her about it.
Yeah.
And my dad didn't ever really deter from a conversation. So I'm sure had I asked him, he would have told me, but I never asked him because we ended up moving to Georgia. So when I was like 14, he wasn't really around again until like I started having kids and stuff. So, and I don't want to say that I had a bad relationship with my dad. I had the same relationship I think most people, I don't want to say most, a percentage of people have with their dad, which is kind of, I hated him for a little while for no reason. Like, I still can't to this day really go back and be like, oh, I hated my dad for whatever reason because I didn't. And then we started getting along again simultaneously once I started having grandkids.
Yeah. He's like, I need to be around those
Hmm.
babies. I need to make an effort.
Yeah, I
Um,
think I was 16 when I had my first kid, and that was a shocker for him. But again, he was the one that did not freak out, and my mom did.
yeah,
So,
which seems kind of interesting, right? I think
yeah.
the same thing. Like, I was deathly afraid to have sex growing up.
Hmm.
As the listeners already know, like, I was a virgin until I got married, but well, penetrative virgin, I guess. We've established the whole sleepover incident. So, but
Hmm. Hmm.
like, I was just so afraid. I was like, I know my dad has a direct line to God, and I'm gonna get pregnant. Something bad's gonna happen. I was just so afraid. But it would have been interesting had I not to like see what would have actually happened. But so then were you grew up in public school, I assume?
Yep. Yep.
And did you just learn how did you learn about sex? Like, tell us about that first experience at 14. Like, what's your first
Um,
recollection of like learning about sex though? Let's back it up to
I've
that.
always been kind of like a sexual person, I
Mhm.
think, and I was just very curious, and I looked older than my age when I was that age. um, so I always talked to like high school guys at that
Mhm.
time, and I learned more from guys in school than I and some of my brothers than I did from my parents, I guess. And it
Yeah.
wasn't really like a conversation. It was just more of like this. It's terrible, but I used to catch my brothers watching porn. That was kind of like my influence and what I knew of like what it was. Nobody ever really approached me and talked, and I never really asked anybody. It was, when you get it's terrible, but when you get to middle school, a lot more kids talk about it than you think.
No, I believe it.
So,
Cause us little good Christian kids in youth group, talked about it a lot more than I was like, "Oh, man, I didn't think that we
sadly,
could talk about it."
I had more stuff happen on like church trips. with people, and that's probably how I learned then, going to school.
Yeah. Well, and I was homeschooled,
So,
so I didn't have that. So church trips,
mm,
definitely. That church van and a couple of blankets, yeah.
right,
There was
right.
there was a lot of discoveries happening because I was like
Yeah.
14 and there in the back seat there was like an 18-year-old. And the youth group leaders had to just be stupid because literally this guy was like had his hand down my pants while I am having a conversation with the youth leader lady who's in the seat in front of us. Like she's looking straight into my eyes and I am getting handsied.
Not the
So,
handsy.
not the handsy. And all she did was ask, "Oh, are you still seeing this one boy or whatever that was like my camp boyfriend, whatever?" And I said, "Yeah." And I was clearly like kind of cheating or whatever. So it was like, that thing was going on. But I actually hadn't talked to the guy in like in 2 months.
Oh,
So I just lied to her
well,
because
shit.
you know what? I wanted the boy that was groping me to be jealous because I wanted more attention from him because he was 18 and I was 14. So, but he was like a senior and then I must have been that would be like 8th grade. I would think I was like 8th grade. So, yeah, good old church van.
Yep,
Interesting
yep.
things. So, tell me about your first time having sex then. Like, who was that with and like what was
It
the
was actually terrible because
Most first times are.
yeah, it was
Did
actually terrible. Like he knew kind of like what he was doing, but I for sure was. I had I'd done everything except have actual sex before him, but he was really big, so that made it worse. And like we didn't even finish. But the story behind that was that I was a really crazy kid. I feel sorry for my mom some days, but I my mom sent us to an all night skate, me and like two of my brothers, and I snuck out from the all night skate to go meet this guy at a hotel that was like 2 miles down the street.
So you walked there?
I mean, no, he came and
He
picked
picked
me
you up.
up.
Oh, well, like my mom
Yeah.
one time rode a bike like I don't even know, like a really long ways out to my dad's house and she didn't even know if he was
Mhm.
going to be home. So I'm like, "Oh, walking 2 miles to a hotel sounds like to get some dick sounds reasonable."
Yeah. I
Uh,
mean, no, he came and picked me up. It was actually like me and my best friend.
oh.
And the guys we both lost our virginities to were cousins. So
Mhm.
they had gotten hotel rooms. It actually like they were super nice. Like they had like rose petals on the bed for well, we had separate rooms of course, but rose petals on the bed and he had like music playing and
Oh,
it just
nice.
was not good because
He was
nothing could function because it hurt really bad. I was like, I can't do this anymore. So he ended up they ended up taking us back like after the night and several tries of failed attempts. And
was there no lube?
I mean, I don't even recall that. Let's be honest. I know we used condoms, but that was like as far as I remember because I was nervous too. Like I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, and that
So,
doesn't lead to any things being able to be warmed up very well.
right, right.
Oh.
And then when I realized that it was gonna hurt so bad, I was like, "What the fuck am I doing here? Like, what is this? This
You're
is
like,
not what I thought it was gonna be."
yeah, in porn they sound like they're having fun.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So,
How was your friend's experience though? Was it similar for her? Like, or did she have a better time than you? Or did you guys like kind of talk
she
about it
had a
afterwards?
better she had a better time than me because her guy was not as big.
Oh.
If we can say that. But, but yeah, that's what she said was that
When size, that's so funny. When size matters and you want it to be smaller.
yeah,
I wish his dick was smaller, says no adult woman ever most of the time now.
Yeah, and so because we left the skating rink, the all night skate, our brothers, so her sister came and my brothers came, and they had called our parents. So when we got back to the parking lot, luckily they dropped us off down the street and we walked back to the parking lot. Both of our parents were sitting there with the police there.
Ooh, the podcast titles are going to be very, very good for this.
Yeah.
I
So
see Socrates over there just like brain spinning with the, ooh, hashtag this,
yeah,
hashtag that.
yeah, my mom literally like immediately grabs me and her parents grab her, and the cops looked at both of our parents and were basically like, if you're going to do anything, you can't do it here in front of us, because they were, of course, freaking pissed. We were missing all night and they still didn't even know that we had what we were doing. They just knew that we had left and snuck off together.
Right.
So
they were
we
both relieved
wanted,
and furious.
yes.
They're like,
So we
that's one of those things where the parents are like, if they're alive when we find them, we're gonna kill them. Oh,
exactly. We get back to like our houses. My mom finally lets me go to bed after she screamed at me for hours and was trying to get out of me what we had done. And I just told her we went and hung out with friends. Like I would, because my friend and I said if we get caught, we're just saying we went to like a party and we were hanging out with friends, that we weren't telling the story. So we literally did. I held up my end of the bargain, and she went home and told her dang parents. So I
that would have
fell
been
asleep,
me.
woke up the next morning, and she's downstairs at my house, and she's just looking at me like dread, looking at me basically because her parents said that we couldn't hang out anymore. And then my mom realized I was wearing a turtleneck, and it's summer. And
What was underneath the turtleneck, Mrs. Mocha?
Well, I didn't know till the next morning that I had hickeys all over my freaking neck.
One doesn't usually discover that in the moment.
Right. Right. So my mom is screaming at me like, I can't believe you would do this. Like, why are you even lying about it at this point? Because I was holding on to the lie because my friend told me we should hold on to the lie. But then she was downstairs not holding on to the lie. She told my mom. I was so mad at her. Anyways, we never spoke again after that.
Oh man, that's a pretty cool story though. With my ex-friend though. It would have been better though if you guys were still like awesome friends to this day. Like you just got through your shit. You should look her up and be like, remember that time we were 14? Let me tell you.
Her parents were like, hell no. Like, so we had just moved to Atlanta. I'll just go like a little further and I won't go deep into it. But her parents did not like me in the beginning. So that was like kind of the nail in the coffin. Because I was like super wild when I was younger. So when that was the nail in the coffin, her parents like basically threatened her, like, you won't have a car, you won't have this, you won't have that. So she was just like forced to not talk to me anymore. Like her parents didn't even let her ride the bus after that.
Because definitely she did not do anything of her own free will in that situation. It was definitely Mrs. Mocha, 14-year-old Mrs. Mocha's doing.
Right.
You held her at gunpoint and forced her to go on this wild adventure with you. Yeah. That is so funny. I always think it's interesting when parents like blame other kids. Like, you know, when it's like, your kid is just as wrong. Believe me. If they didn't, and whose idea was it?
I mean, the guys invited both of us, but we just discussed it, and I was like, well, how are we going to do it? So then we all four like talked together and we're like, this is how we'll do it. And we just all agreed. So it wasn't like I pushed it on her. She was like, yeah, I want to lose my virginity. I was like, yeah, me too. And we were so stupid. We're like, yeah, they love us. Yeah. Okay.
Well, they loved you at least enough to do the rose petals and music, because you wouldn't believe how many other stories we hear that's at least like they at least tried, even though it wasn't
Hmm.
successful. I'm like, oh, well,
Yeah.
they at least tried to make it a nice experience and not, you know, just be
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, he was super nice. We didn't talk after that either because he was uh going to play a professional sport and ended up luckily getting in and doing what he needed to do. And so, and it wouldn't have been a good situation anyway. So it all worked out for the best. But yeah, I was just like, oh yeah, he must love me and this, that, and the other. But I mean, also wasn't pressed to talk to him again because my brothers were like, you're so stupid. Why are you chasing him? Da da da. That was a good thing about brothers is they never let me be fucking desperate ever. They were just like, why are you talking to that dude? Why is he needs to be chasing you? Like, just don't talk to him. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, so I didn't.
that's awesome. Yeah, I don't have any brothers anywhere near my age. So I didn't really have any like male influence besides my dad, like growing up. That just made me think about that. Hmm, that's interesting to think about. I can't, babe. Do I ever talk about any male influence like growing up? Oh, gotta turn your mic off.
No. Mm-mm.
Yeah. So I didn't really like even like my dad, the male influence, but I didn't have anyone that was more just like a friend type situation. I can't even remember like it's funny because I was just friends with boys and stuff like that, but I didn't have anybody who was, like in a mentor. I was just always trying to get attention of older boys. I thought all boys
Hmm.
my age were stupid. And then I don't know. Maybe one of the youth leader guys. He was really he was a single guy that was a youth leader, and he was a cool guy, and he just then this story's not going anywhere creepy if anyone's expecting that. He was straightforward. He was straightforward, a youth leader. He didn't do anything to my knowledge creepy. If anything, he helped a couple of girls get out of situations where they were being abused. So, I feel like that was like my first, kind of male role model that wasn't my dad, you know? So
Right.
he was a good guy. And that's actually he he moved to the area where my husband and I live now, and we came here and visited him. The youth group did. We came and surprised him and stuff. So that was like my first time to this area. Um, and then I ended up moving here years later. So that's kind of interesting because it's not really somewhere from where I grew up to where I am now that you would really think would go together. So, hey, Socrates, you're just kind of sitting over there like, what do you, you got any questions so far for the lovely Mrs. Mocha?
Yeah, I mean, going back to thinking you were in love, like, wasn't it a confirmation that they did all those things for you? And or did it kind of fade because he moved on because he's thinking about his career?
I mean, that's what I said. Like, we didn't really talk after that because his parents were super pissed because I lied about how old I was. So, like, his parents, he was 17 and I was 14,
Right.
and he didn't know that. So when his parents found out, we spoke one more time after that, and I saw him at a football game, but we didn't. I mean, like, we couldn't interact. Like, his between like his parents being at the games and my mom telling me like I will never go to visit another football game again if I even make eye contact with him. I was kind of scared of my mom at one point in time. So
Well,
I I would have never known because we never talked again after that. I saw him years later. Like, I was in my, like, probably early 20s. I saw him and some of our friends, but like there was no excitement there. If that's what you're asking. Like, I wasn't sad that it happened because I think, but I don't know if it's because I had brothers that I was just like, well, I mean, it is what it is. And I was so terrified of my mom, I didn't really give a fuck. Because I'm like, well, I'm not getting in trouble for this dude, but thanks for the dick, I guess.
Thanks for the dick attempt.
it.
So how did that?
Right.
So since there was so much like, man, talk about shame. I think you win like the shame prize for like the parents spending the most time, effort, and energy shaming you about your first time. How did that like affect? Did it have any effect on like going forward on you? Um, you know, your next time that you had sex, or like the rest of your high school days, or
I'll
were you?
just be honest. I went wild after that because I was so curious. Like, it can't just be like that. And when I say wild, I was wild, like super wild, until
What does
I
that
got pregnant
mean?
with my daughter.
What does that mean?
I
super
fucked a
wild?
lot of people.
So what? Like every day a new guy, or like what are we talking about? What was your body count by the time you had your first baby?
Probably 8 or 9.
Mrs. Mocha, that is wild, I guess.
I mean,
I was
that's
expecting you
like
to say 50.
oh no, like, but back then that was considered a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
I wasn't supposed to be having sex at all, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh, let me just have sex. And here's the thing, let me just be super honest. I'm not even sure if that's really the number, and it could be quite a few more. But I was just trying to sit here and count on my fingers while I was you asked.
Yeah.
Say,
So,
I mean,
and then after you had a baby, did that kind of like chill you out a little bit?
yeah, it was a good thing that I had her. She slowed me down a lot. She slowed me down a lot. It was meant to be, I think. Like, at first, like, I was like, oh God, this is, my mom was like, oh, it's gonna ruin your life, like, da 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 da. But I think I'll say now, like, I feel like she actually saved me from myself because I was not going down a good road.
Yeah. I always hate that
Mhm.
because I'm just like, okay, so, religiously, it's like, so if you have a baby, isn't it like, I thought we're just talking about being pro-life, right? Just talking about giving a baby life. And then you're saying it's going to ruin your life. It's going to be terrible. It's going to be all these things. It's like, wouldn't you just be happy that someone gave that baby life? And like you said, it turned out to be a really good thing. And I hear that. I had a team member that she had twins at 16, and she said the same thing.
Mhm.
She's like, I was doing
Mhm.
a lot of drugs. I was, just headed in the wrong direction. And those little babies, saved me. So, I know that's controversial, especially in the religious circles, but it's like, I feel like a lot of times, like you just said, it's like, that was a good thing for you, and turn your
I
life
think my
into
dad
the
knew
more
that.
mature and positive direction versus if you would have not gone pregnant, you would have just, who knows what would have happened, you know?
And yeah, I think my dad knew that because again, I really thought my dad would be upset, and he was the least upset, and bought her car seats and clothes and did a baby shower. And my mom was sending me to adoption classes, like, you can't keep her because my mom didn't want to be a grandma and da 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 da. But like I said, I mean, it, it turned out for the best because had I not had her, I would not be anywhere close to where I am today. So
That's so
it
awesome.
was good. She slowed me down a lot.
And then how many total kids do you have now?
I birthed 4,
Mhm.
and then we have 2 bonus. I have 2 bonus kids.
Yeah.
I think the magic number is 6 for us. Sorry, I thought we got cut off.
Oh, no, I was thinking for a second. No, that's funny because you guys have 6, and then me and Socrates have 6 between the two of us. We won't say who has how many. We'll just leave it at that. Leave the audience members guessing.
Yeah.
So I'm really anxious to get into the exciting part of your story, but Guess what, listeners? That's on the After Dark. See you next time.
No more waiting, no more chains. Breaking rules, rewriting names. This is our time, this is our fire. Hear the call, we're rising higher. On your truth, live out loud. No more fear, stand up proud. You were made to rise, this is your time. Waves may crash, but we still stand. Hearts unchained, no demands. Follow the voice, hear the sound. Freedom's here, we've been found. The siren of freedom calling you home. No more hiding, let yourself roam. Rise with the tide, fearless and free. This is your destiny. Waves may crash, but we still stand. Hearts unchained, no demands. Follow the voice, hear the sound. Freedom's here, we've been found. The siren of freedom calling you home. No more hiding, let yourself roam. Rise with the tide, fearless and free. This is your destiny. The siren of freedom calling you home. No more hiding, let yourself roam. Rise with the tide, fearless and free. This is your destiny.
Thank you so much for listening today. We hope this podcast has been an encouragement to you. You can find us on our website, thesireнофreedom.com, and also on social media and Patreon under the Siren of Freedom Podcast. Your support is what helps us continue to sound the alarm of freedom.